What's up, A to Z Sports live on a Monday. The preseason is officially over, and we're on roster cut eve as the NFL will have all their teams down to 53 players by Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central Time. We are over 24 hours ahead of that. The Titans have yet to make any cuts. No moves have been made yet. I'll discuss why I think that's the case here throughout the morning and the beginning of this show, but we're talking Cam Ward preseason grade because we're sitting in this no man's land, JT, where it's like we can't talk about things quite yet because it's a fluid situation. They might have roster cuts that happen during the show. Who knows? But I think I have a beat on why they're taking their time on that. And also we'll talk Cam Ward. His 3 preseason games are in the books. Now the next one is the real one in Denver, and we'll give a grade on what we saw from Cam Ward for those 3 preseason games. And then we'll walk through who is the biggest winner on the Titans roster throughout the preseason and who was the biggest loser overall during the preseason games. Before we get to Rockin Rando, this is your Rockin Rando debut, is that right?
It is.
That means I have no idea what to do. I know how to stump Easton. I don't exactly know where your weaknesses are, but Rockin Rando, to wrap up the show on Mondays, is how can one host stump the other one by finding a popular person that they can't identify. That's the game. That's how it works. So here we go. Let's get this thing rolling here on a Monday morning. What's up?
Yes, good morning. Happy Monday, everybody in the A to Z chat. Excited to talk about these roster cut downs and recap Cam Ward's preseason. It feels like we are about to, we're right on the cusp, right? We just got our final taste, and now we have about a week and a half of nothing, and it's gonna piss me off because we have to wait even longer, and we just have to have these more conversations that are going to become meaningless in a couple weeks when we finally see real football. But that's why we do this. Been excited to talk about all of it with you guys today. Good morning, Maserati Mac and the rest of the A to Z crew here in the chat. Excited to get going. Let's jump into it.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports here live on a Monday. I'm Austin Stanley. He's JT Runke, and we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings around 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Follow us there at A to Z Sports. Hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. Please leave us a 5-star Google review if you can. That goes a long way for us as a company and as a show. And we got to thank our sponsors because they truly do make it happen for us as a company and a show, and they help you out as well. Like Wilson County Hyundai, make them a part of your new car buying process. See them in Lebanon or online, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care, and our friends at Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs. They're local to the mid-state area, and they're also online at bartondrury.com. So a one comment I wanted to get out of here off the top, because I saw this. Andrew says 3 weeks in a row late, and Austin was there each time. I'm starting to see the common denominator here. No, because even though Easton is not on the show today, Easton is also a big reason why the show was later than it would have been otherwise, right? JT, can you back me up on that?
Listen. I saw someone in the chat say, isn't Easton supposed to be on this morning? Yes, Easton was supposed to be on this morning, but someone did not get their alarm and someone did not wake up on time. But you know me, I'm here, I'm available, I'm ready to go, head on a swivel. And listen, I feel like I'm not trying to throw you under the bus. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. It is a fact that the first person in the studio for the stream today was me.
Because you made it. Because you made it, right? You were the one that made the stream, so then you're the first person there.
No, I was in here at 8:04. I can tell you exactly when I got in here. I was in here at 8:04. So not saying it's anybody's fault. It's no one's fault. I think
yes.
We do say we go live every weekday morning at 8-ish Central, but I just want to listen. I agree that the common denominator I will default that the common denominator more times than not diverts to one man Easton Freeze. But
that's right.
I have to put that out there.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, we digress. All right, so let's get to Cam Ward and his performance. Oh, actually, time out. Before we do that, I jumped the gun on my own thing, right? Because, look, the Titans have yet to make any roster cuts. as of 8:18 a.m. Central Time. And I think it's because they are sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting, because a lot of other teams that played Friday, even Thursday, Friday, Saturday, there's been a full day post the game. And a lot of teams have made chunks of cuts, where the long lists of players that have been waived or released. And the Titans, who wrapped up its preseason Friday night, have cut 0 people. So they still have 91 people on the roster, because Thomas Odukoya still gives them an extra spot because of his international pathway program designation. And so I think the reasoning behind this is, why rush? Because you have until Tuesday at 3 p.m. You have the number 1 waiver wire spot. You should just sit back and just take in all the people that you will have to pick from before you do anything. So there is no rush to make any cuts. You've still got a whole another 30 hours before you have to do it. So you're going to see all the best crop of talent out there. We expect the Titans to make, I don't know what, it's kind of a weird thing. Like how many, because Easton and I were talking about this offline last week. Like, what's the most waiver wires the team has ever made before? And it's hard because, like, you might make 6 waiver wire claims, but if you're down in the order, you might only get a couple of them, right? Yeah. Because they get scooped up before you. So this one's just like, I don't know how many you want to make. Like, so how many fake positions are they going to have out there is what we had kind of talking about, is how many roster spots of the 53 are there as placeholders to just put a name down to then cut the next day once you make 9 waiver claims and get all 9 of them. I have no idea how it's going to go, but that's what I believe the Titans are doing, is just waiting to see the full picture of waiver options there. And I do know this, it will change, because you can expect, you're hearing it here, you can expect the Titans to start making roster cut decisions and announcements today. That it will start to officially happen today. So head on a swivel out there for news throughout the morning. Easton is also, since he's not on the show today, is working on his roster cut tracker article for you guys to save for throughout the day and the next day or so. So that's my thought. So JT, any things to add? Any thoughts to add on that before we dive into Cam Ward?
Yeah, I think it's very smart. One, you want to, because at the end of the day, those decisions will impact some of these positions. Mainly, I think at corner is a big one, that, like, if you're looking for specific positions to watch where guys are continuously getting cut way beforehand, and maybe you see that's the last maybe crop of names you start to see trickle out that the Titans release, is guys like in the cornerback room, maybe that linebacker 4, 5, or 6, maybe edge 4, 5, or 6, like those types of guys, right? That's the ones I think you really need to watch, because I think there is an advantage there, right? That, you may end up saying, well, let's keep this guy. Like, which guy do we want to keep? Do we want to keep the more placeholder guy, or do we want to keep the guy that maybe has more impact now, because we're looking at the roster and we're looking into the waiver wire, and there really is not an upgrade, right? I think that's the way to play it. I do also think that a lot of these early cuts ultimately result as more veteran guys, bottom of the roster veteran guys who have done this multiple times in, times out, give them the most possible time to go and find a new situation, not guys who have been on the bottom of that roster that either need to go out and get, are looking for their next opportunity, or those are the worst of the worst that you're gonna have, right? Those are guys who they're already setting on their way. We know that there's not a lot of decision to make, so that there are 2 ways to see it, but I do think it helps the Titans make decisions better if they're like one of the last teams to start making their cuts.
Yeah, I think one name that I'm kind of fit under what you just described there is Gabe Jeudy-Lally. Like, he is, as of right now, he is the Titans' 6th cornerback. And that might stay that way. But I think the Titans would be fine if Gabe Jeudy-Lally is their 6th corner, unless there's somebody that's available on waivers that they could upgrade. But they don't know that until they see the full waiver pool, so to speak. So We'll get to all this here later on. I've already started favoring some comments because we said we were going to grade Cam Ward's preseason, and you guys are quick to jump to it. So there's already some grades in the comments, and we'll get to that here in a moment. But let's go ahead and hear JT. Do you have the video of okay, Cam and Callahan video?
Yes.
Do we have that video? Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and I'll have you cue that up in a second. But here was Cam Ward's stats for his 3 preseason performances. Overall, he had 7 total drives over the 3 games against the Bucks, the Falcons, and the Vikings. He was 10 of 19 passing for 145 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, was sacked 1 time, 7 drives for 14 points. So 2 touchdown drives, both were like 1-yard runs by Tony Pollard and Julius Chestnut, 4 3-and-out possessions. That was his drives and his stats for those 3 preseason games. Go ahead and hit the video there, JT, for Brian Callahan and Cam Ward talking about the preseason performance for the number 1 overall draft pick.
Big hits. How much do you think you still have to show that maybe you didn't show in the preseason?
I just think I really got to show that gunslinger. And it's with, playing a full game. And then it's also just, Coach Callahan having the trust in me like he does. So I'm gonna put a lot on tape on this year. My teammates going to put a lot of tape on this year. And so, we excited every week we get opportunity.
How much, to what degree is his world about to change? And what's the degree of the test that he's now going to see?
First and foremost, very, very, very stiff test right out the gate with the defense in Denver. Very talented, very well coached. It's a good football team. It's a good test for our team in general. So, it's going to be a lot different than a preseason game, certainly. That's part of what practice is for, is to try to get as close to that preparation as possible. But, it's going to be the first time against a really good football team that he's going to play the entirety of the game. And there's going to be learning moments through the course of the whole process, but I think he's up to the task. We're ready for that challenge, and looking forward to it. But it's definitely, there is no correlation, I don't think, in my mind, from preseason play to your regular season. There's no ability to make any prediction of what that's going to look like. Very pleased with where we're at and what we've done, but certainly the Denver Broncos present an entirely different challenge in week 1.
And just to get my main takeaway of that is like now, the test is coming, because the whole reason why they made training camp hard as hell on Cam Ward is because they got a really tough week 1 opponent at Denver coming up in less than 2 weeks from today. So JT, I have some thoughts from listening to that. Obviously having a full game for Cam Ward, as both Brian Callahan and Cam Ward brought that up, having a full game to play is a big deal overall. So let's go ahead and ask the question here. I'll let you throw that in the chat. We'll say, how do you grade Cam Ward's 3 preseason performances against the Bucks, Falcons, and Vikings? 2 on the road and 1 at home on Friday. The Titans were 2-1 with their preseason record. But how do you grade Cam Ward's preseason performances over these 3 games with 7 drives, 2 touchdown drives that he led, 0 turnovers, but 0 touchdowns, 10 of 19 passing for 145 yards, and was sacked 1 time with 4 3-and-outs on his 7 drives. So we'll get to all of your opinions and your thoughts and your grades on Cam Ward here in a moment. First, going to tell you guys about the Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all your insurance needs. BartonDrury.com is their website. These 4 guys on the screen right there do a phenomenal job, whether it's Brian, Adam, Mike, or Charles. They're really good at what they do. Whatever that insurance policy that you're needing, whether you're looking for something for your family, right? Whether it's better home, auto rental coverage, whether you're looking for how to maximize the 401k and planning that for your future as well. It could be an umbrella policy, whatever that looks like. Or maybe you're an employer like Zach and I, like trying to find the best employee benefits for your company. And that's how we landed with the Barton Drury Insurance Group, because we searched and searched and searched all throughout 2024 as we wanted to get our employee benefits for 2025. We did that with the Barton Drury Insurance Group, as well as our workers' comp policy, to keep us straight and narrow right there with all those rules. So Barton Drury is where to go. They are the experts, not us, but they are. Check them out online, bartondrury.com.
So much more to get into today, but first, make sure you have liked today's show. Make sure you're also subscribed. So much more It goes so much farther for us than you may think. All you have to do is simply hit that like button, lock in, like the show, and while you're down there, make sure you are subscribed as well.
All right, so how do you grade Cam Ward's preseason performance? I'll go ahead and put his performances overall. His stats for the 3 games combined: 10-19 passing for 145 yards through the air, no touchdowns, no interceptions, was sacked once, 7 drives for 2 touchdowns, and then had 4 3-and-out possessions. JT, I will send you to the chat. What are you seeing there from the audience here on Cam Ward's grades for the preseason?
Yeah, definitely a lot of grades across the board here. We start with Scott, who says, I give him a B. Definitely like what I am seeing from him. Assad says C+. Titans Kyle, B-. A lot of B- here. Titans Kyle, Will Dodson, Darius Horton giving him a B+. Darren and Richie giving a C+. Zion with a B+, Nick with a B-. Nero says Cam is a B++ because he showed the ability to command the huddle, make adjustments. No passing TDs is all why that one is not higher. American says C+, no long bombs, no scrambling for 5 minutes. B- from Rooney, B- from Steven Crozio. We have Johnny B+. Kitchen saying very mid, C. Johnny saying B+, B. A lot of B's across the board here. Bork also B-. Jason, finally, the first A comes from Jason Dyson there. C- needs improvement. B+. Daniel says B+, and A got better every single week. So we're hanging around the B to C+ range.
Yeah. I was thinking about putting up a poll on YouTube, and I only have 4 options for this poll, JT. So let's see if we can get more streamlined in our data. What should the 4 options be? I'm thinking C+, B-, B+ is should
I think B+
What do you
is
think I
the
should do?
highest you can go according to
Okay.
the chat.
So do not put an A up there, or I could
I
put
think
B+
that-
or higher, right? Like, I
Yeah.
can maybe that's the way to do that. Okay, so let me go ahead and ask this poll question here. If YouTube quits jumping up on me,
Yeah, I mean, we can jump into it. I think a lot of these answers are, contradictory to, a lot of people are putting their answers in here, and I don't want to throw shade at half the chat, but a lot of these answers are contradictory to what Cam and Brian Callahan just said themselves, right? How vanilla, how very, did not do the things that Cam Ward is really great at in the preseason, because that's what the preseason is for. It's for the first overall pick to get the operation under his belt, to do the vanilla things correctly, to do the fundamentals correctly, in order to then, when you have to go out and do the real thing for more than 3 drives a game, when you have to go out there and you have to do 12 to 13 to 14 drives a game, that's where you can start to unlock those things. And so I think the answers to me personally that say, well, he didn't do the big things, he didn't do the long bombs, he didn't do the scrambling, like that's all in an effort to, first of all, get the fundamentals down, do the operational things right. Second of all, it's in order to protect your quarterback, because I think you need to remember that when he's out there right now, especially in that second and third game, he is out there without half of his starting offensive line. Like I don't know about you, but
and no Calvin Ridley after the first game, right?
and I don't want Cam Ward to be out there trying to do his extend plays and make big time plays that take more than 3 to 4 seconds to develop. I don't want him out there when Oli Udoh is his right tackle. I don't want Cam Ward getting blown up in a meaningless preseason game off the side to see him try to develop a long bomb play. So it's hard for me to say that the grade is based on the different stats and the different the lack of touchdowns, the lack of scoring drives, because a lot of what Cam Ward was asked to do was more operational, not let's say, it's not him trying to go out there and win these games and do the big things. And you heard that from Cam himself. The one thing he really hasn't proved yet or hasn't showed this this preseason is that gunslinger ability, the ability to extend plays. And I think that's for the better.
So what was your grade? Sorry.
I would give him, I would say a solid B. I think he did everything that he was asked of. Yeah. I think there were some drives that he could have, it wasn't all great. I think there were a lot of drives where, when we go back to the conversation of what kind of throw was he making, there was a lot more, I would say, B and C throws than I saw, A throws out there, which is why I think he lands in an overall category of B. But from an operational standpoint, from running the offense, you saw the proof of concept, especially that it's possible for Cam Ward to I think establish the offense, run it, and go on a long drive and score. Yeah. Now, it didn't happen. Like, I think this conversation would be totally different if Alec Iomanner can get one more half yard and he scores a passing touchdown from Cam. So that's like, we are half a yard away from, I think, a lot of people's opinions changing because they look at the box score and say no passing touchdown. Well, you're half a yard away from a passing touchdown. So
and that play on Friday night to Alec, the sidearm throw, just kind of slinging it through there for Alec to go down and get it and have that football protected near the goal line was pretty impressive. So you go with a flat B, because the four options on the poll that I came up with are B plus or higher, B minus, or C plus or lower. And I'll let those results keep on coming in here. Jason does ask this question, though. What's the difference between a B plus and an A? I think there's a big difference. One, the answer is standard, because it's like, what is your standard of an A quarterback performance? Is it like, super efficient, over a 100 quarterback ranking, converting third downs, really good completion percentage, great yards average per attempt, scoring points overall, and not taking sacks? I think there's a lot. Your standard is the A, right? So as I did see this comment too, I wanted to mention, because somebody said, if you watch the film, B. If you watch Jack, if you be on film, F on stats. Don't be a box score watcher, because I do think, and I'll steal this from Will Bowling and Ramon Foster this morning on The Zone, as they said, we get too caught up in the results of the preseason. Now, we're doing that. We're grading him, but we're trying to use our eyes and not just only be the stats. So I am going to say my grade is also a B. I cannot go to the B plus. I can't go there. I think the reason why it is not a B minus or a C plus is how the touchdown drives happened. The touchdown drives were both very, very long. They were long drives. They converted multiple third downs. They overcame penalties on both touchdown drives. The Titans offense had to go backwards in a bad 1st and 20 situation, and then they overcame that and was able to continue the drive. That's a big deal, considering the Titans football we've watched the last 2 years or so. Then, I guess 3 years. The other thing about those 2 touchdown drives is they were the second drive of the game that followed a 3-and-out. And both against the Bucs, the 3-and-out, where Cam missed the open targets on the first third down look, and they punted, and then they came back and scored a touchdown. And the same thing happened, the first drive 3-and-out against the Vikings. I feel like Brian Flores kind of sent the house at him on that first set of downs, and they were backed up, and it was pretty quick, done, right? Done and punt. And then they came back and put together a really long, impressive drive where Cam was able to show off a lot of different arm talent and skill sets through a couple really nice balls. And then
Calvin Ridley, who was not out there for the other 2. So that, once again, changes the math.
100%. So, but I don't think it deserves a B plus. I would have liked to see less 3-and-outs. Not all 3-and-outs were his fault, right? Some of them were. I would like to see them be able to do more, right? Like, they had 2 touchdown drives. The one drive that was not a 3-and-out and was also not points was the amazingly controversial Van Jefferson drive. And so there was a lot to that, but so I think it's a flat B. I think he did a really good job overall. And it's a grade that makes me very optimistic for his ability in the season to play a full game, because I like the way he responds. And I agree with this comment from Jared's burner: start up quicker, start faster. And we'll talk about that leading up to week 1 against the Broncos, because the Titans need to start faster and not put themselves in a hole. In a weird way, last year's offense started pretty well. Like, they didn't come out of the gates terrible in a lot of games. They were tied or had the lead at halftime a lot more than games that they won. So, and another point that I was going to bring up too from Alex, play calling wasn't fantastic. Not sure if that was on purpose. And I brought that up when we were reacting to the Falcons game, that I felt like that Falcons play calling was very, very pass happy, because they were trying to achieve something, as Alex's point is.
Right.
They were not running like what a typical like game script would be, to try to, plant Easter eggs or hide breadcrumbs to set something else up later. They're just calling plays to call plays because they want to work on certain things.
Yeah, I will say that, and this is, it's the extent of what I can say. Like, the offense that you see in these preseason games looks nothing like the offense that they run in practice. Like, I think that's the way I would put it.
I think that's fair. So, what have you seen the YouTube poll, by the way?
I have not.
Okay, good. Don't.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. I won't.
What do you think is the number one vote getting answer? B+ or higher, B minus, or C+ or lower?
If I'm believing that a lot of the chat from the YouTube here, just going back to what they were answering, I want to say it's B-.
You think B- is the number one vote getter?
Yes.
JT, the pessimist in you, that is the third. 20%
Really?
is
Okay.
B-. Yes. So there are two others that are higher vote getting.
So now when you say pessimist, like, are people being more positive than they're leading on here in the chat? Is it B+ or higher?
B. 39% of the votes were B. 30% were B+ or higher.
Right.
I already mentioned the 20%, and the last 10% or 11% is C+ or lower. So good poll, I think, overall.
Bork says JT thinks we're a bunch of negative Nancys. I think you guys are just being more negative. The commenters here are being more negative than the people just watching. The quiet ones in the back are a lot more positive than.
Oh, so you're saying the
outspoken
people that consume social media content but don't comment are the more sane bunch?
I think so. That is what I'm saying.
No offense to all you guys that we love in the comment section. But yeah, all right. So I think that's a fair poll. I think overall that makes sense. I think most of the audience is correct. If we're saying 60%-ish of the audience thinks he was a B or a B-, I think that's pretty solid. I think the 31% that's B+ or higher, if you're a B+, I can say okay. But I would have liked more points, would like more touchdowns, would have liked less 3-and-outs and all that. But again, I pass. I mean, I think it's a pass or fail type thing for the preseason overall as a whole. And I think nobody can truly say that he failed. There's nobody that can justify a pass, failing grade for Cam Ward in the preseason. And I'm sure you kind of agree with that one.
Yes.
All right. So let's go ahead and get to our next couple of questions here. We have a two-parter here. We're going to start on the positive before we get the negative JT's answers on the other one. But who was the overall biggest winner of the Titans preseason? Who is the overall biggest winner of the Titans preseason? But real quick, Tippy says, my first comment ever, I said Khalfani Mohammed should start over Derrick Henry, and I ripped him to shreds, and he never commented again. I'm sorry. I'm glad you're still here. You can comment. Don't. That was funny. All right, so who is your overall biggest winner? Biggest winner for the Titans preseason? I see a lot of comments flying in here now. But first, the Bone and Joint Institute is where you should turn for all of your injury needs that happens in life. Injuries are massive inconveniences as adults. It just is annoying. It's in the way of everything. It gets in the way of family life, social life. You wake up, you're in pain. Don't live that way. Make sure you get it checked out by going to see the experts in the Bone and Joint Institute in Middle Tennessee, right there in Franklin, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. They've got you covered. And they've also got a really easy process. Everything's under one roof, all the different steps along the way of imaging and clinics and rehab and the surgery centers all right there. They have a great support staff to make that an easy, pleasant experience for you. Book an appointment if you need them, boneandjointtn.org.
Yeah, so much more to talk about. The biggest winners and losers of the preseason games for the Tennessee Titans. But make sure you like the show, make sure you're subscribed, and then if you would leave us a 5-star review on Google, simply search A to Z Sports. That's ATOZ Sports. And leave us a 5-star review. Say whatever you want to say, how much you like the show, what we should change. We always, criticism is a gift, and we're always looking to make the show better as we approach a massive 2025 season for the Titans. And you can do so by leaving us a 5-star Google review. It goes a long way for us here over at A to Z Sports.
All right, biggest winner of the Titans preseason. What are you seeing in the chat? I saw a lot of comments flying in, so people definitely have opinions.
Yes, and a lot of the comments are exactly the same, that the biggest winner, if we had to give the award to one player, it looks to be Cedric Gray. Tall Texan leads us off, says Gray. Bork says Cedric Gray, and it's not close. Jack saying Gray. Darren saying Gray. Darius saying Gray. Rick Gray. So many Cedric Grays here. Titans Kyle, Patrick, Adam, all saying Cedric Gray. There's so many more here. It seems like he is the unanimous winner, and we'll talk about him here. Daniel says as well, James Prochet is a big winner, although I'm not saying he is a lock to make the roster right now, but I think he is one of the biggest surprises of the preseason. Kendall says the O-line was the biggest winner. Steven says Mullings was the biggest winner. Nero saying Van Jefferson was the biggest winner. I have some thoughts on that one as well. Johnny says Joey Sly was the biggest winner. Scott says Alec Iumanner was the biggest winner. But overall, it is Cedric Gray. As I look down the comment section here, it is continuously Cedric Gray as the biggest winner, which I would. Do you agree?
You agree?
I would agree. I think when you're talking about whose outlook has changed the most, we went into that first week against Tampa basically saying that the linebacker competition for linebacker 2 was over, that it was James Williams, and that was that. And now we are 2.5 weeks removed from that conversation, and it has totally flipped. Cedric Gray, it looks like he is going to be that starting linebacker next to Cody Barton. And of course, I mentioned this on our recap right after the game on Friday night from Nissan Stadium. I think when it comes down to the linebacker 2 competition, I think both of them got participation medals and are sharing as co-winners, because at the end of the day, both of them showed a lot of promise and both of them are going to be rotated in very much so. It's just that now, instead of, I think, James Williams wearing that starter, I guess, name tag or golden star or sticker or whatever you want to put on him, it's going to be Cedric Gray, because what he has done for this team. He has changed. The game has slowed down for him. He's played and made a lot of impacts on early first and second down runs. He's that guy that I think you want in there on those early downs to stop the run, to blow up the inside of the run gap. I think that's the guy that they want out there with Cody Barton to start the games now. Not saying that James Williams has lost anything in this battle, but I think his skill set is very different to what Cedric Gray is doing right now. And so Cedric Gray seems to be the starter, and there's a lot of momentum for him, but it doesn't mean that James Williams has gone anywhere. But when you talk about someone who won his spot throughout the preseason, it is him, because he went from not talked about at all to now the starter.
Yeah, and I saw somebody, Troy, I think, say if they cut Cedric Gray, they all need to be fired. He's a starter in the squad. He was never in jeopardy of getting cut. Like, come on, let's calm down. Like, he was not getting cut. It was, is he going to be a factor on defense, or is he just a special teams guy they picked at the top of the 4th round who got beat out by a 7th rounder who is transitioning from safety to linebacker? So, but the results are no. Cedric Gray can play pretty good football, and it seems like some things have clicked. So I think Cedric Gray is obviously a great answer. The audience is all over that. I think to go a different direction, to not go as Cedric Gray, I think you could also answer maybe. I think you could do a few of the day 3 draft picks could be in this as well.
Sure.
And I think Alec Manor has shown his case to be an impact player on this team. Gunnar Helm, 100%. But I feel like we were already talking about those guys. So if you're talking about preseason performances, I think Marcus Harris has also done a really good job to up his stock as well. Marcus Harris, I think, has maybe already passed Darrell Baker as the backup outside corner. It's kind of hard to know, but he's started to overcome and get some of Baker's spots. So I think Marcus Harris is a really fun player to watch to see how much better he continues to get as a rookie day 3 pick overall. I think Khalil Mullings could have been an option here if he didn't get banged up. I think he ran the ball pretty well. He's obviously got to get better at pass protection. But I think Marcus Harris is my answer overall. Is there anybody else that we're just like completely overlooking?
Not that I would think. I think everyone else, like, those are the big roster battles that, the guys who we've saw had rise through the ranks. I agree with Marcus Harris that this was a guy who I think was projecting to be that maybe backup behind Roger McCreary and, a replacement if Darrell Baker was not able to, was not able to continue to play at that level. However, he's made a lot of plays, and he, even if some of those plays are him having to recover after he initially gets beat, that's what makes he's trying to sink or swim, and he immediately started sinking, but then was able to recover. And I think that's really a good sign. I do also see a bunch of people here in the chat saying James Lynch as a winner. James Lynch, I don't think was ever in danger of not making this roster. I think they really, really like him in the building. And this is a guy who is perfectly serviceable as a defensive tackle 4, but he has made a lot of plays, and he was making plays last year when they were really, I think, thin at that position. And I think he comes in, he looks even better this year. And I think he's going to be a solid rotational guy for them.
Yeah. I think James Lynch is a good one too. 100% on that.
I will say the last one, because I know some people were saying like Van Jefferson is a winner.
Go next. Yeah.
Because there are some comments earlier. Steven started off saying Van Jefferson probably saved himself after the final preseason game. One way also saying Van secured his spot on the roster with that performance. Guys, Van Jefferson has had a spot on this roster since he was signed. Like there was no saving. And I think this is the important discussion to have. Like, the fact that, and I know this is going to be a big one, because I think it's all but a conclusion that guys like Xavier Restrepo are not making this roster. Van Jefferson is going to be this team's wide receiver 3 this year in some way. And I think that the people that continue, and you can say however much you like or dislike Van Jefferson in terms of his play, but he was never getting cut. This is a guy who inside the building and on the practice field is very well regarded, and that this is a guy who is going to be on the field for this team and is going to be dependable for them. And it's not going to be a huge breakout season for him, but I look at Andrew Jones here in the chat. I think it's very feasible that Van Jefferson gets 600 yards as a wide receiver. You don't think so?
No. 600 yards? Absolutely not.
600 yards, I think, is very reasonable for Van Jefferson.
No. That's way too high. That's way too many yards. Yes, I don't know. Like, is there a player not named Calvin Ridley that's going to have 600 yards receiving in this offense?
I mean, if you're thinking that, then I have some questions on what you think the outlook of this season is going to be.
Oh,
'Cause
they're
I
going to
think
throw the football, but like 600 yards, like I don't think. I think maybe one other guy, maybe one other player gets over 600 yards after Ridley. Ridley's going to have like 1,300.
right, but so
Lockett,
then
Jason says.
you're saying if we're expecting then Cam Ward to what? You're expecting Cam Ward to throw for
I think you're
like
going to have like, I think
3,500
you're gonna,
yards
again. We're going to do this later on.
Okay.
We're going to have a show where we're going to say, all right, over unders, yards, all this kind of stuff. 600 yards is a lot. I think the Titans are going to have Calvin Ridley at like 1,300, and then there's going to be like five guys
who are not getting over
350
600
and like 600. Yes, I think there's going to be a bunch, just boom, stacked right there.
That'll be an interesting conversation because I disagree with that one pretty heavily.
You know,
so.
Chris says 35 yards a game is 600. Yeah, but like you're expecting consistency for Van Jefferson to have 35 yards a game. When Alec Manor, Calvin Ridley, Gunnar Helm, you've got Chig, Tony Pollard, maybe Tajay Spears, maybe Chim DK, maybe Tyler Lockett.
Well, we can talk about spreading the ball here in a second, but
no, okay. I like
yeah.
Okay.
I
think 600 yards for if Van Jefferson has 600 yards receiving today or this season, then somebody else got hurt, and that's not good.
I think that's one way to go about it. I just think they're the way that they've set up this offense. Like, I think you're going to look at a bunch of receivers getting, more yards than not. I think they're going to prioritize certain parts of the offense more than they do others.
I just don't think that's going to happen.
We'll see. So,
I wanted to get to a comment. Van
Jefferson, I don't think can be a winner. To get back to my main point,
because I was actually going to go off. I was actually going to ask you about Van Jefferson being a winner. I think he is a winner in this.
If you, I was gonna when I say I don't think he can be a winner is because I think the reality is he was never in danger of losing his roster spot. So can you really be a winner?
He can be a winner.
Okay. I think that's fair then. I do think Van Jefferson's a winner because he proved everything that you're going to see from him. Like, he's going to have maybe a couple of these games where he does these things that make people go crazy because they think he is really just that bad. But I think he's going to be a solid, dependable wide receiver 3 or 4. Whatever the yardage on that looks like, I think that's going to be a lot better than what the initial outlook of him was.
Yes, and Malachi says to come back from the national hate for a fingertip drop is winning. I agree, because the dumbest thing, like, there are two things that showed me that we collectively as a football viewing group are so over preseason is how Van's controversial fingertip drop, no catch, incompletion in the first quarter of a preseason game was reacted to, which was such an overreaction. It was insane. The other one is the ridiculous reaction to Cam and Jeff fighting in practice the next week. Like, those two things got we're all stuck in the cabin together. It's cabin fever preseason style. And we are breaking out of it because so many people lost their minds over things or just were at each other for stupid stuff. He dropped the pass that I'm not even calling a drop. He didn't catch a really good throw. There was a hard catch in the first quarter of a preseason game. Big freaking whoop. Everybody got their panties in a wad, Buck Rising included, because whatever type of panties or underwear you wear, they were uncomfortable for you because you were completely complaining about this ridiculous thing because you didn't get to see more Cam. That's it. It's just ridiculous. It's crazy. And Eric Stanley says Cam and Jeff are best friends now. They've been best friends and tight. They shoved each other because they were doing the left side, strong side thing. All this stuff. It's just so dumb. All of it was dumb. It was an overreaction on every side. And I'm so glad that we're over it. But congrats to Van Jefferson for that game. That was a good thing. I'm glad that he got that to get some of you crazies off his back.
Yeah, I do also want to note, I don't think Van Jefferson dropped the ball after that one. Like he was perfect in the practices I saw afterwards. He was perfect in that game. Like I think he did not drop a ball after that. So
If Van drops a dime like that in the regular season, that's 7 points and potentially a loss for the game. It's so unacceptable. You guys act like people don't drop passes. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, yeah, he would probably die for it if it's a regular season game. But, like, you guys truly act like people don't drop passes. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. All right. Loser time. Biggest loser of the Titans preseason. But real quick, King VC says, lock in, like the show. If you have not liked the show yet, please do us a solid and do that on Facebook and on YouTube if you haven't yet. It's super easy and goes a long way for us. So shout out to King VC for the super chat. So you seemed like you had an opinion on biggest loser. So maybe while the comments come in, I will let you start with the biggest loser of Titans preseason.
Yeah. I think it's hard to call anybody who I think is not going to be on the roster a loser. I mean, because they're going to be without a spot, but like the guys that I'm stuck more down. So on the guys who are, I'm tempering my expectations a lot more with on who are going to be on the final 53. I think Chimere Dike is one of those guys for me. And we don't see him talked about a lot. And I think that's maybe it's a little harsh, but he was picked 30-ish spots higher than where Alec Iomanner went. Like this is a guy that when, they took the swing on him because they were banking on the upside potential. And so far throughout the preseason, he has looked like the wide receiver 6 or so on this team. And I know that he is a more developmental prospect. And I think that's something we noted going into this, but still, there's a lot of talk about how he could be utilized in this offense, and we have not seen that utilization much. And if we have, we've seen his style of play and his position in the offense go to guys like Alec, guys like Bryce Oliver, guys who have been able to show it faster and better so far. And I'm not saying that Chimere Dike won't be good down the line, but as of right now, I think based on where he was drafted and the hype of like they finally got Cam Ward, 2 rookie wide receivers in the 4th round, you would like to expect the one that they drafted higher and prioritized to be contributing a little bit more. And so I think we haven't seen a lot from DK, and I think that you're seeing a lot. I know Easton made this comment in the press box during Friday's game that the big conversation this entire offseason was DK wasn't really utilized in that Florida offense really well because he was just kind of sent on, track speed, go run a route, go clear out down the field, and then run back to the offensive line. And that's kind of what he did this offseason too. And during the preseason, like we were hoping that we would see a different style of DK in the preseason. And so far we've seen the same from what the tape showed at Florida. So I'm not saying that it's over for him, but hasn't been as great as I was hoping.
Yeah. I think DK fits to be in this. I don't think it means you're saying you're not out on him. You're just more stuck down on what we thought he could be. Cause I said at one point during the preseason that Chim DK was the biggest disruptor of the wide receiver position group, because whether he excels, stays even, or drops a little bit determines so many other people in that position group and roster spots. Yes. He was always going to make the team. It's just what is his imagined role. Like they have to keep James Prochet because Bones Fossil said the other week that he is not comfortable with Chim DK being the punt returner. And then
they immediately put Chim D. They were like, "Oh shoot, we should probably give Chim the first team punt reps now." Because I said this. I will say though, like the first one that he took went out of bounds. The second one where he finally got to field a punt, I was sitting next to Easton and Buck, and it was not. All three of us kind of held our breath. We agreed that it was not the cleanest punt return, I guess you could say, or fair catch. So I still think there's reason to believe that Prochet will be on the roster and start the year as the punt returner, which also I think is a knock on DK.
Yeah. So when we were talking through pre-show, the biggest losers, I was trying to think of like who the options were going to be, and the first one, to be honest, that came to my mind was the former Titans quarterback Tim Boyle.
I think
Because
that's fair.
it was because Tim Boyle was not supposed to get cut. Tim Boyle was not supposed to get cut that early. He was not supposed to make the team. He was supposed to get cut at the end of camp and then make the practice squad and earn a really good check for the rest of the season as the practice squad quarterback, helping in the meeting rooms. But he was so bad with his 0.6 quarterback rating against the Bucks, the Titans had to cut him and Trevor Siemian get his job. So I think that could be an option for Ben Toyle, as Cam Ward said. But I also think there's a couple other biggest losers here. I think Mason Kinsey is a really good answer for Markel Walsh. Mason Kinsey, I think he had at least 2, maybe 3 special teams penalties.
Yes, that's I agree.
And one of them knocked out a big return by Prochet in the first week. One of them knocked back a solid-ish kick return. But he had blocking the backs twice on returns. And, he was not going to make the team, but a guy that you want to say that you could trust do those roles in a practice squad elevation a few times throughout the year. Not great penalty rate on special teams. So I think Mason Kinsey didn't have his best preseason. We've seen him have better preseasons, but I still expect him on the practice squad later on this week. What about Caps? Will Levis.
I mean, can you really be a loser if you didn't show up to the preseason?
Yes.
I guess. Okay. Then yes,
because
I agree with that one too.
the opportunity presented itself.
Yep.
This is why I thought Will Levis, and I tweeted this yesterday, Will Levis choosing to have his elective surgery on his shoulder that he did not need, but he felt like he wanted to have because of his situation. The Titans did not ask him to. The Titans did not say he needed it, but he went and got it. He went and found the doctor who was going to do it to say, I'm done for the year. And I said, well, there could be an injury where there could be an option. There could be a trade. And here the Las Vegas Raiders need somebody to play backup quarterback because Aiden O'Connell's out for the next 6 to 8 weeks with a wrist situation. Will Levis took himself out of that. Will Levis took himself out of his future situation changing. And that's, that is what it is.
Yeah, I think I was going to bring up like you said, the Las Vegas Raiders needing a backup quarterback now. I think this was the opportunity, and maybe that's yet another avenue that Will Levis took, right? I think that was something that the Titans were probably going to do around this time. You saw Sam Howell yesterday get traded from the Vikings to the Eagles. I think this would have been the time around, depending on how his preseason looked, where you saw Will Levis potentially be on the market and get traded to a team that was in need of a backup quarterback. And he is a loser in this category for that, but I'm also kind of a win because we don't have to talk about it. So I'm putting that as a win for me. But yeah, I agree.
And then somebody, Vols says, did not need, quoted me, surgery he did not need. He did not need it. He wanted it. That is a very clear distinction that I'm making. Will Levis did not need the surgery. He wanted the surgery because Will Levis would have played this year if he was the starting quarterback for the Titans. There's zero doubt, because that picture that he sent out there on social media the night before his surgery of that bump, I don't think I have the graphic in here anymore. I think I deleted it. But that picture he sent of this little guy that he was saying was getting taken out, he's had it for at least 3 years.
Yeah. Should we get to the rest of the comments here on people who are losers here? Amar says Tyjae Spears is a loser.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to agree to a certain point because, once again, injured. I think he was going to be an integral part of the offense. He starts out the year injured. I think there's still potential that he goes to short-term IR. I think depending on how they want to do roster math, depending on how close he is to coming back, I think that's something to watch. Not saying that that's confirmed or anything, but I think it's a possibility for them. So I think he is a loser. Darren says that edge play is still buns. Kickoff team still buns. Those are his two losers. Greatness says Xavier Restrepo is the loser for him. Major Keys says Josh Wiley. Darius also says Josh Wiley. Eric says Restrepo, all this hype for nothing. Hype. I want to add hype that you all decided to put on him, not anyone here. Jason said Josh Wiley. Tall Texan says Williams lost his starting spot. So he believes James Williams lost the starting role there. Connor Kills says Sneed is the biggest loser. I think that's fair. Definitely, since he was not able to come back at all. Randy saying Restrepo.
He's
Jason
back
saying
now.
Restrepo. He is back. For how long? We'll see. But Johnny says Femi. I do think that Femi, it's hard for me to put him as a loser. Like, for the main point of what did people expect? Like, did you expect him to come in and in 3 preseason games look like a guy who now has only played 13 games at edge? Like, I don't know what the expectations were there for a guy like Femi, for him to call him a loser.
Yeah, I don't think Femi's a loser. I think he got better. His first, I just think he was limited snaps. He has a lot to grow.
And he did come into the game on Friday on key third downs, and I think the game against the Vikings on Friday was his best game of the preseason.
No doubt.
So far.
He had a pressure. I thought he had a did he hit a quarterback once? I think he had a QB hit.
I think it depends on where you look at the stats.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but
he was in the face of the quarterback as they were throwing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that's the good thing. And Andre says the wide receivers are room. Losing a young guy with long-term potential to keep Van, he might get you 300 yards if you're lucky. This is I gotta say, I don't like this comment whatsoever because listen, keep losing a young guy with long-term potential. I think people need to understand that, like, there is a reason that I think we get caught up in the Xavier Restrepo 4.840 time. Like, Xavier Restrepo does not have the NFL speed that you need to play at. Whether he ran if he was healthy and ran a 4.6 or stayed at his 4.8, like, he just does not have the ability. And I think people, the comment as well, that's like, why didn't Xavier Restrepo get some run with Cam to show off why he deserves that spot? Like, you can put him up there with the ones. I still don't think he was going to get any of those. I think the reality of the situation is, because if he goes up against ones, he's going to lose those reps. Like, I give him opportunity to catch from Cam. Those opportunities would be wasted because he was not going to win against ones. And I think that's the unfortunate reality of the situation. And I know there was a lot of hype for him, and I'm sure that he's going to be on the practice squad. Like, I think your 2 practice squad wide receivers are Mason Kinsey and Xavier Restrepo. Because I think that's also going to be, if anybody needs a nail in the coffin, like, put him on the practice squad and let's see if another team decides to go spend a roster spot on him, because I'm willing to bet that it will not happen.
Agree. Okay. You ready for a little
Yeah. Andre says you don't set a school record at a place known for perimeter wide receivers by not being good. You certainly can set a school record if you stay there for a very long time.
And just because you're good in college does not mean you're good in the NFL.
Yeah. So
if you're bad in college, you're probably also bad in the NFL. But just because you're good in college doesn't mean you're good in the NFL.
I agree.
So it's not Tim Tebow, Johnny Manziel. How many other Heisman Trophy winners? Most of them. RG3. Most Heisman Trophy winners have not been that great in the NFL.
Yes.
So, okay. It's Rockin Rando time.
All right.
Here on the show. But real quick, let me tell you guys about Wilson County Hyundai, WilsonCountyHyundai.com. That's where you should go for your new car buying needs and your new car needs, because they will help you out, help you save money, and not have you paying those downtown prices because Wilson County Hyundai, located in Lebanon, has all those rides for you. So check them out. Say hey to Payne Bone when you're there. WilsonCountyHyundai.com. All right, JT, I want you to hide the chat.
Hide the chat? Okay.
Hide the chat.
All righty.
All right. So there's no chat. This is
No
how
chat.
Rockin Rando works. You're going to tell me who this person is, and we'll see if you can guess this Rockin Rando.
Oh boy.
Who's this?
It's I got no clue.
You have no idea.
No, I am just making out his face. It's not the best picture in the world, but what is that on his shirt? I do not know.
What is what on his shirt?
I'm trying to see what his logo is.
You can't tell what that logo is? There's two
that-
logos on his shirt.
Mm-hmm. Is that I have no idea.
I'm sorry.
I have no
the
idea.
default says Malik Willis 10 years from now, which is hilarious.
Is that a Las Vegas Raiders patch?
No,
I have no
It's
idea. See,
that is an NFL equipment patch.
I see. I have no idea.
Johnny, Steve McNair's chunky cousin. No, Steve McNair also chunky.
That's good. That's
Nothing?
funny. But I got nothing.
Titans wide receiver coach, people.
That is not Tyke Tolbert.
There's not Tyke Tolbert, not their current wide receiver coach, JT.
Oh, is it a former one?
Uh,
Let's see. How long ago?
Probably right before Vrabel.
Oh, well, right before Vrabel, I was not anywhere near the Tennessee Titans team.
Yes, but this is also there's a connection.
Is
I'm just
there a
gonna keep
connection?
I'm just gonna keep giving you hints, and the chat, some of the chat is on it.
Okay. Give me another hint.
He was Justin Hunter's biggest fan.
Oh.
That's kind of ironic.
Um,
The guy who gave Justin Hunter the Jag jersey, just another guy.
I see. I know his name.
You do.
I think I see him in my head.
Are you sure? Because you would know his name if you think you knew. Because
Is
we've
it-
been talking about his son a lot the last week and a half.
Oh, we've been talking about his son.
Yes.
His son here at Tennessee?
Yeah. Yeah. JT.
So he's a
This
Titans
is,
player?
this is Sean Jefferson. This is Van Jefferson's dad.
Oh. Nice. Okay.
There you go. I'm curious if Easton would have gotten that.
I don't think so.
I think Easton would
I
have
didn't know
gotten
I didn't know Van Jefferson's dad was I forget that he is Van Jefferson is a local legend in which I have learned much about this storied rivalry in the Nashville area, the local Nashville area between different parts of town that I would not have known otherwise.
Yeah,
So
because to be fair, JT was not in Nashville and was never in Nashville when Sean Jefferson was the wide receiver coach for the Titans.
let me see. I came to Nashville in 2018.
Yeah, which was
2019.
Vrabel's first year. Sean Jefferson was gone because he was on the malarkey. Because just to kind of clear things up, Van Jefferson is originally from Michigan. He was only in the area because his dad was coaching the Titans. And he was here for a couple of years, went to Ravenwood, won a state championship, was a really good player. Sean Jefferson, obviously the wide receiver coach, here for a handful of years. I guess that was the Justin Hunter. I can't remember if he was with, I don't remember how long Sean Jefferson was actually the coach, but yeah, was with Justin Hunter for a couple of years and called him a Jag. And then he was moving on to other places. Then Van went to Ole Miss and then Florida, and then was in the NFL. So yeah,
Nice. There you go.
he went to high
still
school
love Malik
he went to
10 years.
he went to high school in Brentwood at Ravenwood. So
I see.
that's it. That's right. So all right, guys, that is it for us on this Monday. We've got loads of content and news coming. The Titans are expected to start making cuts probably any minute now. So keep your head on a swivel. Easton's got a practice squad prediction article out there of Titans players that are best fits for the practice squads. You can go check that out, atozsports.com/Titans. And also more content coming, and we'll be live tomorrow morning on Cut Day. Buck Rising live tonight on A to Z Sports Primetime at 7. We'll catch you guys later on. Appreciate it as always.